Wow, amazing. And so I guess that's kind of the next phase here is like I would love to create a new business. And so that's kind of the longer term intention is to live in that space of that completed end result now
Mm.
while I start to take baby steps toward that end
Yeah.
result while I still work in the current business because it's still got to pay the bills and whatnot.
Exactly.
It's kind of that's life.
Yeah. Makes me think of a relay race. Each bit is there to play its part at that point in time.
Thank you so much, Allison, for that illustration of the metaphor of the relay race, because that just gave me like the idea, like the metaphor gave me the kind of like it's like a framework, of current reality, and then you have multiple desired realities on your way to the end result,
Mm.
and you don't just drop the baton; you keep
Mm-hmm.
going, right? And there's phases to the journey, and
Mm.
so you kind of run through that. Like when you're running and you pass the baton on to the next runner, you don't just like immediately stop. You kind of slow down in your momentum, but you're still moving. And then the next person, their momentum takes off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you don't just get to that first desired reality and stop. You keep going
Mm.
to the next phase and you have that next target or that next goal in mind as you're moving toward it. And the momentum just keeps building. And then you pass it on to the final phase and you go straight toward that end result, that finish line.
Mm.
And you don't just stop at the finish line, you run through it full speed.
Yes. And you have to be really mindful when you give the baton and when you take it, because if you drop it, you waste an enormous amount of time.
Wow.
What I'm getting is it doesn't always have to be masculine though. Like for me with my lenses, some days I get to do nothing. There's nothing to do in the divine feminine, and that's all right. So
Hmm.
some days there might be you might tap in what's there to do today, nothing. Being able to just sit in the nothingness and sit in the silence, sit in the feminine. It's the balance of both. Like what Will said really related to me, so thank you, Will, about focus and finishing stuff. On some days on my lenses when I do it, I just get sit in silence, sit in the focus. There's nothing to do but sit. Like for example, a really easy thing for me is a colouring book. And because the perfectionist, the bit, if I'm doing it and one mark goes out the line, I redo another one. So just for me, just sitting down and finishing the colouring book, seeing it to the end. If there's a line out of place, that's okay. Just finish it to the end. Small things lead to the big things. But yeah, much love, Will. I just read your comment, Will, the small things lead to the big things. Yeah, like if I can finish a colouring book, the page, without starting again because it's not perfect, I can build a business and see it to the end.
Yes, you can. And I wrote that down because that's what you said. So it's like there's a famous quote by Ian Ahrens, and he said, "Small things lead to big things."
Well, it's not my fault, I stole a lot of this.
It's okay to have credit for what you're the gift you've given this morning.
Thank you for mirroring back to me what I've been, what's the right word? Not overcoming, but what I've been seeing within myself is like you mirrored that back to me. So thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like the sometimes we don't realize the impact we have on people, on others, good or bad or whatever. But the gift sometimes that we bring by just speaking our truth and sharing something with others, it could have a far-reaching impact, like the butterfly effect, whether we realize it or not. It could be that, what you said there could be the catalyst for the greatness in someone, and then it's showing up in the world because that person was inspired to take action.
That's one of my intentions is coming on these calls because I find it quite hard to focus. And I've noticed when someone's talking, I tend to drift out. I'm not fully hear what they're saying. And I know it's a pattern from childhood where, because there was so much going on in my home environment, my way of surviving was just drifting out. I'm not hearing what people are saying and going into my own little world. And I just noticed the pattern. So my intention of coming on these calls is to actually listen and focus. Listen to what people are saying, practice the focus in. So yeah, thank you guys for allowing me to practice my focus and listening skills. Like the last year, my hearing, I don't want to say going, but my hearing, but it's like you need to listen more, that's why. So I can see the lesson behind it, like listen more. Because it's enabling me to listen that little bit closer. So the hearing issues is actually working for me to help me listen more. So thank you for being the space where I can focus and where I can, yeah, thank you. Love you guys.
Mm. Yes. Yes. Mm. It's funny. It's like I share with people. It's like they're like, oh yeah, I'm doing my meditations, and it's like, okay, uh, great. It's like, yeah, do that until you get bored with it. Like, look, it's like, do what? It's like, well, do a meditation by yourself in silence in the peace. Yeah, do that all you want. Right? What really matters is, can you hold the meditative space in chaos in real life? Like when you're done meditating, you go out into the world and you interact with people. It's like, can you hold your meditative space then? No, is usually the question. It's like, yes, why not? Because it's like when I do my meditation by myself, right? It's like there's nothing there to trigger you. Yeah. But like what we come together here, do a meditation, and it's like we see our triggers come up when we're with each other. Others hear it pop up and we ask about it, right? And so what that is like it's real practice in conversations, even though it's not out in the world per se, right? It's like still a safe place. Um, but it's seeing, it's like we get to check ourselves where our attachments are when we work with each other here. That's seeing them, releasing them, and letting them go so that when we do go out with other people, right, we're already in the practice of it. And if you'll notice, like people are attached to this, is like, oh my God, I can't meditate with others. Like there's the attachment there. It's like they have meditation, something that they do by themselves in the morning, quiet time, right? Try to get some of it. And it's like, huh, yeah, that you're just attached to what the definition of that word is for you.
How dare you interrupt my meditation, Jesse?
Right? It's like,
Yeah.
yes. It's like, but that's not really the purpose of it. but the starting position, without a doubt. And it's like that's what this has been for me. Like our mornings here has, like, I realized, like, all the conversations that have gone on, it's like they were just geared, like they were testing my attachments. And they're mine, and I could work through them, sometimes out loud with each of you, and sometimes while you guys were working something out. And we're all doing that. It's like all in and out, and it's all around. It goes around and around, and it's like so. All of a sudden, we have this tornado, if you will, like this cyclone, right? This energy that starts to spin and unravel, and it's like as I release, you release yours, and it's like this whole thing just begins to gain energy that just is releasing, so that when we enter those situations out there, we are better equipped than we were before. If you've been here enough, like you come to it and it's like, wow, it's like I can hear each of you, because that's one thing I practice too, is like hearing you and what your words mean to me, because my background pattern for each of you is like my fight to be right. It's like you need to hear me. Like my childhood wounding was hear me, see that I'm right, and then uh, 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 value me. So it's like, oh wow, I can uncover my distraction. Well, huh. And so that's why I like in my word today is like attached to wonder. It's like if I teach myself to be attached to wonder, right? How can I be stressed? How can I be angry? All I'll know is like in the moments that I'm not wonder, which is most of the time, right? When I'm not wonder, I can wonder why I'm not. And just know that that's the difference. Like there's the structure. It's like, oh, I'm here, but I want to be here. How can I in this difficult situation, can I be in wonder about it? What's the different possibilities if you're in wonder rather, or if you're in stress? Isn't the situation the same? Isn't the condition out there the same? What happens is if whether we're in stress mode or wonder mode is the possibilities out of it. Stressed, there is no out of it. It's an unresolvable loop. Yet you want out of it, but you'll never get out of it because of the structure you've learned. The structure you believe is correct. And then we look at it and it's like, but it's not doing what I want. It's like it's not producing the outcome I'm after. Yeah, because you're stressed. Like stress leaves only one way out. And it's not even a way out. It just says that as long as I stress and worry about this situation, it'll resolve itself. It's like, will it? Whether you stress about it or worry about it, right? Aren't they the same? Yeah, yes and no. Yeah. So it's like it's like I talk to people that are like, oh, I'm bored, which I was, right? I got bored in my meditation, but I wondered why, right? Because it was like this is supposed to be the miracle. Well, there was only so much shit my ego would allow me to see, and in about 6 months I worked through it. And then I was just convincing myself that I was meditating, that that was a good thing, yet I was still frustrated. I was like, well, that's not a very good meditation.
That was awesome.
And
You
so
just
the
sit
best I
here.
got is like we come together now around the campfire as equals. See, that's the difference. Is I try to just facilitate. I not lead. There isn't a leader here. We all step up and lead. We all step up and talk. Ian gives a wonderful meditation when he says, like, I need help with this. Yes, that's what we're here for. And it's in a space, what I love, like most love about it, is this in this space of this campfire, is that we do not judge. And if we do, we catch ourselves on it. Because it's an internal. We're listening to that internal. It's like, ooh, that was judgy of me.
Yep.
Or I was blaming, right? And then we come in and we speak our words, and it's like, oh, from our words, we can help each other. That's living life together rather than living alone.
I've noticed when a judgment pops up in me or I'm judging someone, it's nothing to do with them, it's me, it's something within me. Even if it's an old version of me that I didn't like and I see it in that person. Why am I judging it? Oh, because I'm judging my old self. Oh, tick. I'm judging the
Yeah.
past version of me. Nothing to do with them. I'm judging myself. Wow. Click.
It's our own dream state. It's just like when I say trauma, trauma in German, it means dream, Traum in German, it means dream, So it's about awakening from our dream state, Be aware when we're crossing over, when we, yeah.
Last thing I'm going to say. Thanks, Jesse. You helped me see my attachment. When I said I've got a tendency to drift out of conversations, it's a childhood pattern of drifting out of conversations. Childhood pattern is when I was younger, there was so much chaos, so I had a tendency to drift out or not listen to people. And my attachment is attachment to inner peace. So because I want to preserve my inner peace, I tend to drift out when people are talking. That's from my childhood. If my mum and dad were rowing or there's something going on, I'd tend to drift out and go into my own little world. And it's just a pattern that's still playing out now where I want to preserve my inner peace if I drift out. But even when it's not seen as a negative, I drift out. But it's just a pattern where I want to preserve my inner peace. Wow. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we all have them, right? Like as we go for something we want, right? We learn as a child, we're learning like we can't just have it, right? And so we create conditions. Like we do something, we see reaction. We do something, we see the result, and we say, oh, there's the cause and the effect, right? And so we create these conditions. Like we do it all the time so easily. And we don't, the key is where we don't look at them, especially the ones that don't work well. And I call them unresolvable desires. So who wants an unresolvable desire? Nobody. It's they want something, but they can't get it because it's the way they're going about it is unresolvable.
Structure.
Mine. Yeah, mine is
Yeah.
like I wanted to prove I was worthy so that I would do these things. It was like, well, see, just the point that I had to prove I was worthy. Why? I don't. You're a child. Your parents are going to love you no matter what you do. And they did. It was a child's reality that didn't understand words, didn't understand emotions. Imagine that world. Holy cow.
It's a nightmare.
It can get as close to hopelessness.
Yep.
that is what unresolvable does, right? Unresolvable is hopelessness. And just because we don't wonder if there's another way. Look, our space in life is to find space, create connection. And too often we're tearing down, judging, bringing it down, like destructing it. And then I can say is like, oh, if I just really want to prove that I'm good enough, what do I need to do here? So I look for which one is it for me? Like, what's my biggest draw? And I usually just ask myself the question, and the answer comes pretty quick now that I've meditated with you guys to be able to listen to the different voices going on. I listen to your energy, I listen to your words, I listen to your definitions. Then I listen to how how I define them, how they affect me, how they interact with me. And then I look at like what comes to the top, like what is my urge around it. But it is like in unresolvable, so an unresolvable desire, an unresolvable desire is all based on our past. And if you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, what is that called?
It's a metaphor for insanity.
Mm-hmm. So we keep playing our automatic patterns over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And if we don't, then I'm sure it's not good enough. That's the development of hopelessness. Just because of the structure, just because of a story we made up as a child, just because we saw a cause and effect and said, well, look, there's all these causes out there. All these effects are happening to me here. And what is the common denominator? Me. So there's a problem with me. And that's how we structure our life. First of all, we can't let anybody know that we are a problem. Right? First of all, we can't. We sure as hell can't let anybody else know that. Do you see the attachment to being safety, like not being vulnerable, but protecting? It's like, oh, there's an attachment to protecting, to defending, to fighting, and there's a structure to wonder.
That was extremely profound, Jesse. Thank you. And the structure to fighting and the structure to wonder. Thank you.
Well, thank you for letting me lead. I like the podium.
Preach. It's preaching from the soapbox, but no.
Yeah.
Everything that you shared from the art here is just extremely profound, and it's like the gift that everyone searches for through meditation, and they don't necessarily experience or come to those conclusions. Some people do, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you just gave us like the gift and the wisdom of like years of practicing this. So,
nearly every day.
Powerful.
Nearly every morning.
So it's almost like if you want to condense your practice, instead of spending 10 years meditating, come to a few morning sessions and like get a glimpse into what's actually possible through your meditation practice.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to sit in silence for hours on end. You can actually have a conversation with others who are going through the same experience.
Yeah. Focusing our power rather than distracting it. It is. And our attachments will have us say no. That's like the attachment. The easy answer is no. So it's like, oh, no, I can't make that, right? Oh, no, I can't be here. And it's like, well, plenty of us make a commitment to be here. But that's not the judgment. That's not the judgment. Because it's like, that's why I love they invented the word wild, like a campfire. It's like, this is our campfire hour. And it's like, when you think of a campfire, what is a campfire for each of you? It's like, does a campfire work for explaining what we do here?
It's like a conversation among friends. That's what it's like for me. How about you guys?
Yeah, and it's like how many campfires have you been around where you're angry, mad at someone, like your enemy, and you were at the campfire? It's like, are you fighting? Usually you're not, right? So it's like there's a meditative space of being around a campfire for me.
Stories and wisdom are shared.
Yes. And we find we're not alone. Oh.
Mm.
Which at the core is what we want to be with others.
To be connected, right?
Mm.
So there's
Allison,
something that, sorry, Jesse.
Go ahead, please. Thank you.
So there's something that came to mind for me also about being around the campfire. And it was one of my yoga teachers when talking about light, said usually light comes from something that's burning. And it prodded something very interesting in myself, because sun burns, it's destroyed. There's destruction involved in it. But the light somehow is what draws us more than what's being destroyed. And then following that came the recognition of the importance of destruction. And so when I sit around a fire now, it's a bit different for me. And what comes is, as Jesse was saying, that meditative space of experiencing myself in the energy of the fire and honoring what is being destructed. And if only you could do it in ourselves more, right? I mean, I watched myself through this move, and I've got to go through a whole another round of unpacking and donating, selling. It's not necessary for me to keep what I brought in. And that's what a campfire for me are, which includes being with people that like being around campfire for whatever reason.
Yeah. People that we relate to, eh? Like when you relate, that's really the basis of a relationship, and having similar values, and it's just a reflection of who we are here, why we're here. And it's like,
Expanding our right together.
was that Heinz?
Expanding all our horizons together.
It's beautiful.
It's like we each have this individual light. You're like a candle, you can provide a little bit of light, but when you bring us all together, the light, and you put the candles together, the flame actually gets exponentially larger and shines a greater light, which, provides greater light. Oh, there's a kitten there.
Yeah. I mean, and that light is our passion. That campfire is our passion, right? It's like to bring that, to foster it, to blow on it so that it can grow.
I guess the more we authentically show up, it just like adds fuel to the fire and fans the flame, and it grows.
Mm-hmm. Up until the point till you or someone says, "Oh, I'm being authentic." Do you see how that there's space when as soon as you say that to yourself, "Oh yeah, I'm being authentic," you step right over authenticity. It's like you're not going any deeper, right? So maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but there's no wonder, right? You're just assuming you are. And right, like this goes deep to our fight to be right, right? Our fight to be right. So we're gonna fight you because we are right.
Mhm.
You know, fight to be right. Oh, I don't fight to be right. It's like, oh, just yeah, you might not be right now. But in a way you are by your unwillingness to look at it, you are fighting me. So, like a big, so I was talking about attachments, right? People take attachments, like there's people make up the definitions of attachments. And so attachments, triggers, charges, those are things like they draw our attention, like they grab us, they snap at us. And so if we look at it, it's like, are you willing to surrender? Just the word surrender, surrender. Like there's an attachment. Can you surrender?
No.
It was one of the words today, right? It's like, so we're gonna fight. Why do we fight to be right? So we win, right? So there's no way are we gonna take a defeat. Like we're conditioned. We're conditioned to believe we can't take a defeat. And we're also conditioned to know that there's always hope. Now, that surrendering, that's a tough word. It's like, can I surrender that I'm insane? Again, we're just checking your attachments, right? Your triggers. We play parts of our lives as victims. That's an unresolvable loop. That's an unresolvable desire. Oh, please do it to me. Keep me trapped. Keep me a victim. Keep me in jail. Oh, please, I'm safe here. Oh, please, all those things keep happening out there, and oh, I can't control how I feel about them. Oh, give me some medications.
For me.
Poor me. But do you see the poor me is part of a pattern that makes you feel good about yourself or feel like you belong or like people are then going to give you sympathy. So then it's like, oh, there, we're connected. See, like it's all unique to you. All I can do is show some light on it through mine. But I sure can't give you willingness. I sure can't give you willingness. I can give you the definition of it and I can share with it how it works for me. But if you're not willing to step into willingness, you'll never know. You'll have an academic sense of it.
Okay, honey, just hang on a second. I don't want, that's why I took it away, because I don't want coffee grinds. And then I've got to wash the whole thing out. So can you please put your coffee grinds in here,
Okay.
Peter? Put your coffee grinds in here.
Damn it!
Thank you.
Damn it! Just be willing to listen to me. Now that was a wonderful demonstration.
Yes,
Do you
okay,
see?
sorry.
Did you see the frustration almost getting there? Almost. It's like none of that ever happens to us, Allison. Like, shit, it happens to me all the time. Yesterday it happened to me. Heinz and I were on the call. Happened to me yesterday. Oh, the victim in me got attacked. Accused, blamed, because you didn't see all the good I think I'm doing. Yeah, it still bothers me. Yeah, still got a little attachment to it.
Just like me, Jesse.
Well, fuck, I'm right. Which means you're wrong. So come on, get in line.
That's the right attitude.
I mean, that's my automatic, right? That's my tendency.
And where is it getting you?
Unresolvable desires. Yes, unresolvable desires.
Or you.
Yeah, right. Right. Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that's what we want. First of all, we're not clear on it. And number two, we don't see how we're creating it, like how we're doing it. I mean, it's just like so absent-minded, right? So distracted. Like the focus isn't there. It's just kind of like, oh, we just go through life.
Doing the best we can.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone is. And so then how can I judge that? How can I blame you if I believe you are doing your best? Yeah, no, surely not as good as me, obviously. Obviously.
But it's still my best.
Again, this is just my ego having fun, you know.
Yeah.
But there's probably a lot of truth to it too.
That was the ego backing up the ego.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have a confirmation.
Egoic agenda. Wow.
Yep. The egoic agenda is always going to tell you what you want.
I'm a victim. Or me.
Yeah.
They're
It's
doing
like,
it to me.
that's right. One moment you're a victim, and then the next situation you're dominating it, right? So then
Yeah.
someone else is the victim. Do you see the victim and the perpetrator or the abuser, right? They need each other. To keep the pattern alive, they need each other.
Yeah.
Mm.
To keep to keep the security there, right? They've got to be there if that is what was there. Now, that's just our illusion of it, right? That's just our reality of it. It's like, oh, I can't step off of this path because I know this path. See how like we can go through life without the attachment to wonder. Because like part of it, what here's the point is like when I'm doing all of this, when I'm doing my sabotaging patterns or my like when I'm working in it for there, right? When I'm working from it from there, I create things to be as I want them to be, as I see them to be. Like I'm creating how it is rather than allowing it to be what it is. So there's a what is it? Like what it is, something out there is happening. What is it? And the difference between what is it? So I make up it's something, but what really is it? Just at the core, at the essence, at the simplest level, what is it? Because whatever I'm making up about it is where all my attachments come from. And so what I can do is look at the difference between the two. Now I have two strategies. Now I have two choices. Now I have a choice because I have another action plan to consider. And once you open up two, you can open up ultimate, endless, endless, infinite. But if you only have one, that's the only one you're going to see. And for us, most of us, and in my life, that one was an unresolvable loop, an unresolvable desire. Oh, I want this. I want more money. Yeah. Why? Because then I'll be happy. Right? Oh, God, that sounds good. Right? Hell yeah, we can all be in that. But what I was really getting was emptiness. I want my money, right? So I can be happy. Well, when I got my money, all I got there was I was empty and I needed more. And so I had to go to work again. And now I'm in the structure of losing it all, like being like free of it, gone of it, and being okay. Oh, fuck, that's a shitty one to learn. Oh well, but it's like I didn't know it any other. I only knew it one way, so I have to like experience the other way too. So that if it does come back, do you see like how I can be happy with the money?
Mm.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be. It would just still be a cycle. I would still be digging for more.
Mm.
Obviously, I haven't learned my lesson. Otherwise, I'd be flowing in abundance, money just pouring in. In a way, it is, right? But not the currency aspects of it. Yeah. But it's like, oh, I had to 47 years of all these patterns build up, like putting life in a way. I have to take them down. I have to reconstruct them. That
Mm,
takes time. Yet I want it
yes.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Everybody wants the golden pill.
That's right. That's right. Well, and we all expect ourselves to be special.
Yeah.
Well, it is
And we
for
are
you.
and we aren't. Like we all are special, our unique way, and yet we're all the same fundamentally. We're all human.
Yeah.
We all have this cosmic energy flowing through us that keeps our bodies alive, and we all have that limitation of like, how long is this body going to be alive for? It's it's got a expiry date.
Yeah. A whole nother attachment to death. Yeah. A whole nother attachment. Like we make up the word death means nothing, right? Just the word death. It's what am I attaching to it? Because the word is just letters put together. But how do I put my definition of that on it is the attachment.
Mm.
You could kind of say it's like, oh, if I were to taste it, how would it taste?
Mm, you know,
Yeah. What would death taste like to you? Oh, I see it hard and chewy and
bitter.
unappealing, right? But yeah, it's like, oh, so that's how I'm going to orient to that word every time I hear it. That's the definition, the charge that I bring to that definition. Now it's my charge. But it doesn't have to be everyone's. Now, everyone does have a charge, probably as best I can tell. That's like what the campfire helps us with is to lower the intensity of the charges so that we have control over the charges and the charges don't control us. That's called choice.
So, for example, Jesse, I don't like being told what to do. So that could be my charge, couldn't it? 'Cause somebody telling
Oh
me
God,
what to do, it's like, no, fuck off, no, I don't get
Who
told what to
does?
do.
that's right. God, I
You
have a
and
big one. I have that
you
one
and
too.
10 billion other people.
Yeah, yeah, sure as fuck. Don't tell me what to do. Yet, what is everyone doing?
Asking, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, and they're telling, and it's like, oh, tell me what to do. But then, like, people tell them what to do, and they're like, oh no, I'm not going to listen to you. I've got a better way of doing it. Do you see this? Do you see, like, this is what people do? And they even pay money for that. They even pay money for that. It's like, do you see how insane this is?
Yep.
Because that's not right. So who's right? I'm right, right? Oh, you're wrong. I'm right. It's like, so I'm just paying money to you to tell you I'm right. That's a brilliant model, by the way. I want some of that model.
Does that lead to
No, I
success,
don't,
eh?
but right
I'm going to succeed by giving my
there's
money
the
away to someone, giving my power away to them. I'm going to wake up.
just so I can tell you I'm right, Will. Just so I can
Yeah,
tell you I'm right. I mean, that is success. Yes, you're completely right. That is the definition of success.
because you're wrong. So I'm right.
I mean, do you see how this is just a 4-year-old living life?
Insanity.
That's the insanity. That's the unresolvable loops that we cannot, we are unwilling to surrender to. Nope, I'm going to do it again because actually, that guy I paid my money to, right? That guy over there, he wasn't any good. So here's a new one. This one's really got me. Like they're marketing really good here. So I'm going to do it here until the point I'm going to tell them it's like, nope, you don't know what you're talking about either. I'm still right. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep.
Or
Structure.
we could surrender. It's like, oh man, you have a genius. I can learn something from your genius. There's a willingness. Do you see the willingness? Yes is a willingness. No is a deconstructor, is an ender. It's done. There's nothing more with a no. If you had momentum with yeses, 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 and you get a no, what happens to it?
Stops.
It's done.
Yeah. The relay race does not continue.
And so all invested in that is now gone, lost. So our greatest return is to say yes. Yes, and then you're in wonder is like shit. Right? Commitments, right? Commitments is another attached word, charged word for people. And it's like, oh, damn, yeah, if I say yes, that means I have to commit. Fuck.
I don't wanna. Well, that sounds like a powerful creator. I don't
Don't
wanna.
tell me what to do. Right? See the insanity? That's like attached to wonder works everywhere.
I've got a question for you, Jesse.
Wonderful.
How do you know when you fully surrendered? In Jesse's world.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of hands
Eventually,
going up right now.
yeah. I mean, it's like wide open for it, but I'll give my answer. It's in the moment I can see how I would normally react, and I can say it's different. That
Mm.
is validation of my surrendering, of my willingness. And I'm going to fuck up along the way. But I can't look at it as a fuck up if it's in wonder.
Mm.
So I'm not fully surrendered to wonder. See? Surrender's a very difficult thing because first of all, you have to look into it. And most people would much rather just step over it than rather to go into it. And it's that we step over is what we need to go into. And that's why we live unresolvable desires. So that's my definition of surrender. I look at willingness, wonder, curiosity, right? Can I can I love something I hate? That has been my surrender. Something that if I'm right, like if my fight to be right is like to surrender that is to just see when that urge comes up. Oh, there it is again. How are you today? Oh, it's good to be with you. Not really, but it's like just okay, you're there. I hear you. Thank you. You're just giving me information. That would be my definition of surrender. How about you guys?
When I feel I ain't fighting anymore.
Yeah, good one. Good one. So you can see it in your fight. It's like if you're fighting, then you're like, oh, look, I'm not surrendered. I'm not surrendered.
Mine is just I just let it flow through me without trying to change it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Like there's so many other words that go with it, right? It's like accepting,
Yeah.
right? Accepting what is and what I make up it is. Yeah, another word for like fighting, right, is I lost it. But like the emotions. Here's the thing: it's like the emotions are the truth to it all. The feelings are the truth. It's the doorway. The emotions have no time. Our stories are restricted in time. Why? Because our stories are restricted to the past and the future of our life because they're only our experience. So the stories are limited by my experience. And from about the age of 4, whenever I could start to put words together, I could start to put definitions together, which then started to create my meaning. But I've had felt my world before that for years, four whole years before that, right? And don't they say, like our first 8 years, we're in a meditative state anyway?
Yeah, or
Mm.
hypnotic state.
Hypnotic, right? Like I'm like a, yeah.
Alpha
It's
brainwaves.
because children are always present.
Back into wonder, the innocence of a child, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
the essence of a baby. Ah.
A sleeping wakefulness, a dream
Mhm.
dream state, like it's a
Mhm.
dream,
Mhm.
because everything's going in. It's like, oh, there's a belief. Oh, okay, that
Yeah,
that that's now a program.
yeah,
It's now
yeah,
locked in.
yeah. That's mine.
There's an assumption. Okay, that's
Mhm.
now locked in. Okay, there's a definition now. Okay, that's locked in. It's the assumption of a 2-year-old, but hey, it's locked in for the rest of your life.
Can I give an example?
Oh, please.
My niece was with my sister till she was 6 years old and she got adopted. I remember going around to my sister's. My sister's got quite severe mental health. I remember going around and my sister would pick up a CD case, do you know, like the reflection in a CD? And she'd look on it and say, I'm ugly, I've got a big forehead, I've got a big nose, I've got greasy skin. And she would say it in front of my niece, and she was like 3, 4 at the time. Then my niece would pick up a CD case, look at it and say she's ugly. She would mimic my sister's behavior. Anyway, when I met my niece, she's 23 now. She got adopted when she was 6. She said to me, and I told her the honest truth where it comes from. She said to me that she's had issues with body dysmorphia, and the word ugly is stuck on her head. And she's had these issues of body dysmorphia, like she's got a big forehead and nose. And I said to her, my sister Sean used to say that to you. Sean used to say that in front of you, and you used to mimic her. So even though she was only like 3 at the time, it affects her now with body issues. It's like, wow. But I explained it to her where it comes from, and then she understood it then. But that's an example that just comes to my mind. And even though she was adopted, but she was 6 when she got adopted,
Hmm.
the wounding's still there from when she was 3. And it's manifested in body issues.
Yep.
And it's like, is this even mine? Is this
That's
belief or assumption or definition even mine? Or did I just form it based on someone else's belief or assumption?
yes, there it is. That is the door. That is the secret. That is the key. Is it mine?
Question it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reminder, eh? Every
Mm-hmm.
moment of every day, is this even mine? I just I was driving along this street and all of a sudden I was filled with anger. And I'm like, wait a sec, is this even mine? Oh,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it was that woman in front of me. I just drove through her energy field and now I'm angry. So let's just cut those cords and release that energy.
Yeah.
Who am I? Who do I choose to be in this moment?
Mm. That word, who do I choose to be? To be. Because that drives the doing. That is how the doing, the action gets done, is through the being. So however you're being is what you will do. And what you do represents what you have, which is all a reflection of your being, how you're being. Ah, great
I was just
example.
thinking, uh, we're
Yes,
being
please,
what we are
Chi.
feeling. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
I
just
think
thinking that we
so.
are being.
I think so.
So choose our feeling rather than, yeah.
That was what we
Something
worked
else.
with Will. It was like, Will, how would it feel to be done with the work? And then Will was like, oh, I've got this work in front of me. It's like, oh, that I can't complete, right? It's like I'm worried about completing it. And it's like, and I was like, oh, look at the structure between the two, where you are and where you want to be. Do they feel the same? No, they don't. Okay. Look, we're out of alignment.
Thank you.
It's the structure. That's just like you said. It's like, oh, if I can be in the feeling of the end result, that's then it's like that's alignment. Yes. So if I go to work as if the job is already done, because it is, because you're there, right? You might as well just get it done. That's the best, most effective use of time as we hold it, right? So it's like, oh, I'm going to start the job with the end in mind.
Boom.
And it's so often, do you see how people tell you to do that? Like that's a common phase, but it's like, and people don't know what to do with it. It's like, what the fuck do you mean? And it's like, no, the feeling of the end result. Oh, see, our society has got a perverse connection to feeling.
Yes.
That's just a condition because it's not ours, but it's what someone told us.
And we have false beliefs that, oh, my thoughts will create my reality. No, my thoughts and feelings create reality. No, those will just either motivate you or demotivate you.
Mm, mm.
It's the experience of the end result, the emotion that is the
Yes.
motivator that will drive you toward the actions that will create the end result.
Yep.
Mm.
That give you the energy to move through the difficult times.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not worth doing. You
And do
don't
you love it
want
or
it
do you
bad
hate it?
enough. Yeah, you don't want it bad enough.
Like, I hate this. Well, you're going to
Emotion.
create more of that. I love it. Well, go for it.
Right. Which one do we want? Which one do we want in our lives? More of what we hate or more of what we love? The answer is obvious, but our actions are not.
Actions are in alignment with a lot of times what we don't want.
Exactly. It is because we do. I mean, you listen to people's conversations. They tell you all about what they don't want.
Yeah. What do you want? Well, I don't want this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Oh,
but what do
this.
you want?
Uh-huh.
Well, I
And
don't
so
like that.
if I avoid all those things over there, will you have what you want?
Nope.
Ah, shit. See the unresolvable loop?
It's about creating the emotion of what we want, you know. Emotions are energy in motion.
Alive is energy in motion. Yes.
Right.
It's the power of the subconscious mind now. Because
Mhm.
relating back to my niece, she told me there was another niece that got adopted when she was 9 months. And my older niece that I met said to me that the 9-month-year-old says about being ugly as well. But then my youngest niece was 3 weeks old and she doesn't say it. So even at 9 months old, she absorbed what my sister was saying and it's still playing out now. 9 months old, she still remembers it subconsciously. But the baby, my youngest niece that's 3 weeks old that got adopted, doesn't remember it because she was just 3 weeks old when she got taken. I was like, wow. 9 months old, she got adopted, and it's still playing out the ugly card because my sister said it in front of her when she was 9 months old.
Yep.
Wow.
We attach to what we see around us, right? We mimic what's around us.
But 9 months though, and then she got adopted. Not them first 9 months, and she's
Yep.
still saying it. It's still playing out.
Yep. I mean, it's like a while back we had I think he was 3. So he's just starting to put words together, but man, could I see the patterns developing, right? And he was outside and he was on the cement and he was like, hot, hot, hot. He kept walking on the cement and saying, it's hot, 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 but he wouldn't get off of it. Interesting. Right? You think of the 9, like a 3-year old, like doesn't understand the concept that it's like doesn't understand why the cement's hot and why the grass is not. But took the feeling of hot and said, "Oh, hot, hot! I don't like it. Hot, hot! Get me out of here!" But I don't know how to get out of here. Right? And then once you're on the grass, right? Hot's gone. Till next time. Until the next lesson with heat, right?
Thank you guys.
Oh,
It's been beautiful, but I need
it
to head
has
off now.
been a great morning. Thank you all for hanging around a little extra longer. But man, great topic, great campfire.
It was a
Thank
good
you.
campfire. Thank you
Good
so
Thank,
campfire.
much, everybody.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you all.
You all have a
thank
Have a
you.
wonderful
great
day.
day. Bye.
Love.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Chi. You do the same. We'll talk
Much
soon.
love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Much
Guys,
love. I'll love you all. Thanks, Ian. Thanks
thank
for your
you.
meditation. Will, thanks for showing. Bye, all.